So the first AI tool we have for today is called NotebookLM. Okay, NotebookLM. If you want to access this, you just open any browser of your choice, open a new tab, and just type NotebookLM. Once you type this, you choose the first option that pops up. Okay. Once you do that, it's going to send you right into this interface. Take smarter, not harder. By far, this is my favorite AI tool, and we are going to get into it and know why I love it so much. And so once you get here, you just click on the Try Notebook LM. It's going to load. I already have an account, and so this is how it is. Okay, so the way to use Notebook LM, or what Notebook LM does, is that if you have certain links or certain PDFs concerning a subject, or even YouTube videos concerning a subject, you can just pull all of these sources of information together, put them into Notebook LM. Notebook LM is going to go through all of this, make test extracts from these sources, and then it's going to give you several options on how to access all of this information. You can summarize the text, you can ask certain questions from Notebook LM. And the superior feature that I enjoy about Notebook LM is that it's able to generate a podcast version, okay, out of what you have shared with it. Okay, so let's take for example, let's say we want to do something on malaria. So what I'm going to do now is, so this interface says add sources. So I'm going to bring together all the sources on malaria. Okay, so it could be a PDF, it could be a link to a website that talks about malaria. Maybe I just want statistics on malaria, so I go to WHO website, then I pick statistics, I just copy their URL, and then I come and paste it here. Or maybe there are videos on YouTube that I watched, and I want to include that as a source. Okay, I can do that. So let me just try that. So let's just go here and just look at malaria. This one is on WHO. Let me just go over this. Let me choose one, two from Medscape, and then maybe from CDC. And then I'll quickly go to YouTube and then look out for malaria. Okay, let me just go malaria. Okay. So Amando Asurigan, okay, I'm going to look at that. Okay, so I have a couple of sources that I'm going to just copy their URL. So WHO's source, I'm just going to copy the URL and then send it into. So this is a link, because the URL is a link from a website. So I click on that, and I'm allowed to paste the URL, and then I just insert. Okay. And then I'm allowed to add up to 50 sources. Okay. So I can go ahead, add some more, add another website's link. Go and pick this from Medscape. Then add one more from CDC. So websites. Awesome. So going back to the sources, because I want to add some from YouTube. So you see all these sources. I could, if I had a document in my Google Drive, I could straight away do that. If I had a document from my PC, I could click on choose file, and then I'm allowed to select from my PC whichever file that I want to add. If it was just a text, not necessarily a file like a PDF or a PowerPoint or whatever, Word document, I could just copy the text and then paste it here. So those are the various sources of information source you can provide NotebookLM with. Okay, so let me just add the YouTube. I'm just going to copy the URL from YouTube. Okay, let me just open it and copy video URL. Come here.
In this video, we will look at the pathophysiology of malaria.
All right. So I've added 4 sources. I can go on and on, like I said, till a maximum of 50 sources, right? So once this is done, this is the interface where you can interact with the information or the sources of information you have provided NotebookLM with. So here, I could ask any question and say, so you see here, as you can see here, what is the current global burden and distribution of malaria cases? And that's a suggested question that NotebookLM is giving me that I could ask, okay? So I could do that, or I could just say, what are the causes? Okay, let me see, how does one prevent malaria? Okay, and the once I input that question, the app or the tool is going to go through all the sources I've given it and then going to generate information for me. Now, so it says malaria is a preventable disease and goes on and on and on. Key ways to prevent, avoid mosquito bites and that. Now, one thing to note is that wherever it picks that source of information from, if it was from my first link, second link, third or fourth, it's going to show me. Okay, it's going to show me. Okay, so this is 1, this is 2, this is from 3. Okay, so it cites the source. Okay, so rather than just so you realize that if you are using, say, ChatGPT for this same question, how does one prevent malaria? ChatGPT will just go online and pick several sources and then bring out information from all of them. Now you don't know where exactly, which site ChatGPT used for that, and so you cannot tell. You cannot tell because it doesn't offer any form of citation. But here, because NotebookLM will not go online and go and search, it would search out of the source I have given, the source of information I've given it, and it's important if you are working with something that your source of information is very well defined. It's not go onto the web and go and choose whichever website you want from. I want it specifically from this, specifically from my slides, specifically from this textbook. So I could, for example, upload a textbook in PDF format, a couple of them, and I want the answers that are generated to be specifically from those textbooks, not from the web. Especially if you have certain lecturers that want you to give answers directly from their outline and not on the net. This kind of tool would help you mightily. All right, so you could go ahead, create mind maps. I just click, it's going to try and generate mind maps, audio overview. The other thing I like is timelines. Okay, so for example, if you have certain sources that have timelines for it, say maybe in 1970, malaria was an epidemic. It killed 20 people or 20 million people. And then 3 years time, we developed insecticide. In this year, we developed treated nets, we developed treated nets. And then in 2000, the government rolled out rollback malaria initiative. Once there are timelines to this, if you click on this timeline, it would work out and bring out all the significant and key events that have happened over the years. Okay, so here's a mind map. So malaria, if you had malaria, you can look at the overview of malaria, and it's going to pop out everything. Life-threatening disease is caused by a parasite, gives you the range of the symptoms. And then there are those who are at high risk. if you want etiology, life cycle, pathophysiology here in that regard. Amazing. Right. The key feature that I love about NotebookLM is that it's able to generate a podcast version out of the information. So I'm just going to allow it to generate a podcast, and I'm going to play it, okay, for a while. And the podcast sounds so human-like, and it sounds so conversational. You would really enjoy it. It sounds like two who have actually just met up and are talking about the topic you have just offered. And I love that. It's a very brilliant feature of this app. You should try it out. Okay, maybe while we wait for the audio to be generated, cast generated. Great. So I'm going to have us take a listen at the podcast at this moment.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really going to dig into malaria.
Yeah, it's a huge topic.
Definitely. We've got a bunch of sources lined up, stuff from the WHO, the CDC, Medscape for the medical details, and actually a really helpful YouTube video that kind of breaks down how the parasite works.
A good mix.
Yeah, the aim is to, unpack this whole thing, its impact, how it actually operates inside the body, and what's being done about it.
And it really matters, doesn't it? Malaria is still, unfortunately, a massive global health issue. It affects millions, and the sources really highlight the terrible impact, especially on kids in Africa.
Exactly.
Understanding it gives us a window into, broader global health challenges, but also into scientific progress and this constant battle against infectious diseases.
Right. And what I like about the material is the variety. We've got the big picture stats, but then also the deep science from Medscape. And that visual breakdown feels comprehensive. So our mission really is to pull out the key stuff, make it clear, engaging, so you can grasp why malaria is such a big deal without getting totally bogged down in jargon.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. What is malaria fundamentally?
Well, at its core, malaria is a life-threatening disease. It's caused by these tiny parasites, the Plasmodium genus.
Okay.
And humans get it through the bites of infected female mosquitoes, specifically the Anopheles type.
Right. Mosquito is the vector.
Exactly. It's mainly found in tropical countries, but the...
Right. So I hope you enjoyed the podcast feature of NotebookLM. And they are trying out an interactive mode where you can also join the two podcasters in this audio version, but that is in beta stages. You can try it out as and when you have the time to. Some few limitations about NotebookLM. For example, if you are uploading a link from a site, NotebookLM only takes out the text in that site. Okay. You see there are some websites that may have an embedded video. Okay. So let's say, for example, when we went to CDC's website on malaria, probably could have an embedded video on that website. Even when you share that website's URL with NotebookLM, it does not take into account the video that is embedded on the page. It only takes into account only the text. Okay, and so there are some few limitations on the kind of file and the kind of information that is accessible to NotebookLM. Aside that, every other feature that is on the NotebookLM is just great, and I personally love it so much. Right, and I hope you also do and incorporate it in your study moving forward. Right, that